welcome to the next instalment of Miss Thomas Learning from Home. Today I've been asked to go over the first part of the Indian Removal Act and the early 5 civilised tribes' way of life. So I'm going to start off with a bit of geography to begin with. So map of America, very poorly drawn I know, but most of your white Americans are living in this eastern part here of the United States of America, penned in between the Atlantic Ocean and those Appalachian Mountains that run down the east coast. I've pointed out Florida here, that's really important, and then your 5 civilised tribes live above and just within Florida there. Okay, so that's really important, the southeast of America. You've got the Great Plains in the centre towards the west and California, which you should be going on to learn in a few lessons' time, right in the west. Your geography and your compass is going to be really important. So the most important bit is west is towards the plains, but our 5 civilised tribes live in the southeast of America. White Americans currently living in the east. Okay, so I've done it as pictures today to try and help to learn these 5 civilised tribes. The 5 civilised tribes that live in that southeast region of America. Now I've drawn it as a hand. Now that's quite important visually for you because the 5 civilised tribes make up 4 tribes beginning with the letter C and 1 beginning with the letter S. I've placed the one with the letter S in my thumb. Okay, so Seminole is there, and then I've put Cherokee in my little finger, and I'll explain that now, with then the Creek, the Choctaw and the Chickasaw just randomly placed in those middle 3 fingers. That's really important. Okay, so Seminole on the thumb, because it's the only S, we only have 1 thumb on our hand, and then the Cherokee and the little finger. The other 3 you can place wherever. In the middle, in the purple, I have got some big points that you need to be aware of. So these civilised tribes are set up in about 1787. Okay, so that's your key date there. Now they're civilised because the white Americans move into their land at around the 1787 time. And they become civilised because they work with the white Americans. So the white Americans, for example, learn some of the Native American languages, which is why I've got an ABC there. We also see schools, our graduate hat, and churches, our Christian cross, being set up to accommodate both Native Americans and white Americans. And we also see newspapers being set up, which give the information of the Native Americans to white Americans and vice versa. So they work together. They actually live quite neatly and quite peacefully together during this time. Okay, but everything is severed. The hand is cut off. Those 5 civilised tribes, their whole life ends, okay, in 1830. 1830, we see the Indian Removal Act. Andrew Jackson, who was president at the time, decides that these 5 civilised tribes need to be moved off the land. This kind of comes in the time when your white Americans are pushing further and further and further westwards, but also southwards, and slavery is really starting to boom. And your Cotton Kingdom, which takes place in the land of those 5 civilised tribes, are really starting to boom, and the economy is dependent on it. So these 5 civilised tribes now are going to be pushed off the land. And this is why I've put these tribes in the area that I have. So I'm going to start off with the Cherokee, and I'm going to explain why I've put the Cherokee in my little finger. The reason being, it's west. Okay, my little finger is pointing westwards because, first of all, when they start going through the Indian Removal Act, first of all, they go to the courts. The court reckons that actually the American government is like a parent, that the tribe, the Cherokee tribe, need to listen to the parents, the American government, and they need to move. Some do it voluntarily. Okay, some of the Cherokee tribe decide that they're going to move. However, lots of them refuse. And this is what leads on to 1838 and that Trail of Tears, which is why I've got the teardrops there. Okay, thousands upon thousands of the Cherokee are forced on a really long and treacherous journey westwards, hence the little finger, to go onto the Great Plains. Many die of things like cholera, of starvation, of freezing to death. It is a very traumatic experience. So just to summarise, the Cherokee first of all go to court to try and overcome this forced movement. They're told that the US government are like parents and that they are the children, they need to listen to their parents, and eventually they're forced onto the Trail of Tears to move westwards into the plains. Okay, next one I'm going to go to is the Creek. Now the Creek tribe divide up the land. Now that's quite happy. They're willing to share the land between white settlers and their tribe themselves. However, things take a change. Some resort to murder. Others decide to take livestock and steal livestock, and others just simply burn down the land. So they're quite aggressive when the land is shared between both the Native Americans and the white settlers. So we've got murder, we've got killing of livestock or kidnap of livestock, and then arson and setting fire to land to try and destroy it. Remember, land is sacred to Native Americans, so this dividing up of land isn't going to go down too well. To reduce your revision, I'm not going to touch upon Choctaw or Chickasaw. I'm going to leave that as just two tribes you don't need to know about. I'm going to come to the last one, the Seminole Wars. So the Seminole tribe go to war. Now this costs the American government huge amounts of money to fund and to fight. So the Seminole don't take very easily and don't take very kindly to the Indian Removal Act. So they go to war, costing the American government money. Consequently, the American government, who can't fund this war for huge lengths of time, decide to invite the Seminole chief for peace talks. This is my speech bubble with a peace symbol inside. They invite him to peace talks. However, this doesn't go too well and he ends up facing jail. This is my impression of a jail. And consequently, the Seminoles are also pushed westwards onto the plains. I hope that helps. All the best.